My name is Jordan, also known as Scraps. Today is Tuesday, 10:11 p.m., or if you're from the UK, it would be 20 to 12. Anyways, today I want to talk about a metal can synth. This metal can synth is very touchy, and we use signals from our subtractor. I'll flip it over here in a second. We take the subtractor output and we plug it into our maelstrom. Now, since subtractor is monophonic, or in this case mono, it only has one out. It doesn't have two for the left and right. It just has the main. So we plug that into our maelstrom. Then that gets compressed, distorted, and mastered for our arsenal of synths we use within our tracks. So I'll play a demo example of how this is supposed to sound, and then we'll get to creating it. So here is the demo example. So that would be the demo example. For now, what I'm going to do is create a combinator to hold everything nice and tight. So what I'm going to do inside this combinator, I'm going to right click in the red box and I want to choose a blank instance of subtractor. Now for subtractor, we don't mess with any of the synths, just the different waveforms, the filters, the amps, and the LFO. So for my first oscillator, I'm going to change this to a positive algorithm. I want to change the waveform to 14. I want to bring it down 2 octaves. For the FM amount, we're going to change this to 24. Now let's say you can't get 24. What if you get 22? Or what would happen if you get 21 and you're trying to get 22 and you can't? What I like to do is I like to hold shift. Now shift will allow me to get those very finite numbers. So now that we have 24, I'm going to turn on my second oscillator. I'm going to leave it in a neutral algorithm, and I'm just going to take it down an octave. Now for the filter frequency, I'm going to bring this up to about 90. And now I'm going to attack my LFO and then finally the amp envelope. For the LFO, I'm going to turn the rate to 70, and I want to turn the amount all the way to 127 and choose filter frequency. We have a very nice wobble. So for the amp envelope, I'm going to turn up the decay all the way and bring up the sustain to 80 and the release to 14, and that should do it. After this, we're going to create a blank instance of maelstrom. Now I'm going to hit tab to flip it over. We're going to take the output from our subtractor and plug it into our input from our maelstrom. Now we take the left and right main output and plug it into our from devices. Now when we start adding more and more instruments and studio effects and things like that onto our rack, what's going to happen is that when we create a line 6 bass amp, and I'll do that right now because it's required, it's going to automatically route. So we don't need to mess with any of the signal flow. Anyways, for our first maelstrom stuff, I'm actually gonna attack the modulation. Then we're gonna go into our mods. We just use mod B, believe it or not, and oscillator A, oscillator B, and the filters don't really matter, to be honest. They just don't. So for our modulation, I'm going to turn on my index all the way to positive 63. I'm going to take my shift to negative 64. I'm going to take my filter to positive 63. And for my second, so that's all we need to do for our modulation. For our mod B, we're going to change it to a square, also known, not a square, a triangle. So it's curve number 1. for the modulation. I want to push up my filter all the way to 63. I'm going to turn my oscillator A from a sine to a 4-mat saw. Let's see, what do we do with the 4-mat saw? We change the index all the way to 89. So it's pretty close. There we go. Take the motion all the way down, boost it an octave, and leave everything where it is. Make sure this routing to shaper A is turned on, and make sure shaper A is turned on as well. For oscillator B, make sure this is turned on. We're going to choose electronic. Now, electronic is found in voice. We're going to take the motion all the way down, and we're going to take this to 64 for the index. For the octaves, we're going to boost it by octave 5, so up 1, and we're going to turn on this routing to filter B. I'm going to turn on filter B, but I'm just going to take this all the way down to 28, keyboard follow, resonance to 34, and take the amount from shaper to about 32 and make sure this is routed. So we're in the right ballpark. So for now, what I'm going to do is for our rate for mod B is I want to boost this all the way to 70. Doesn't that kind of seem like the rate from 70 from Subtractor is the same as the one on Maelstrom? That's because they sync very nicely. Anyways, so for now we're going to turn on the compressor on our line 6 amp. We don't need to mess with our Maelstrom or Subtractor, so I'll minimize those. And our line 6 bass amp. So after this, we're going to create from our creative effects screen for distortion unit. Now I'm going to leave the damage in the middle. I'm going to change the type all the way to the bottom, which is scream. I'm going to leave P1 where it is, except for P2, I'm going to take that to the middle as well. For the body, we turn it on. We leave the resonance to about 83, the scale all the way to 0, and the auto to 4. And we take the body type to D. After this, we're going to create an M-class equalizer. Turn on low cut, parameter 1, parameter 2, and high shelf. For parameter 1, we're going to take this to 169.2 Hz. Push the gain all the way down and the Q all the way up. For the parameter 2, 883.9 Hz is perfect. We'll take the gain all the way down, Q all the way up. High shelf, we'll take this about 4,000 kilohertz, as close as we can possibly get it. So 4070 kilohertz, gain down, Q all the way up. Actually, for the gain, that might be a little bit too drastic since this isn't a parameter, so I'm going to take this about -3.7. After this, we're going to create an M-class maximizer, turn on soft clip, take the amount to 127, put the release to auto, and take off limiter. And there you guys have it, your own very special marching can synth. I want to see if that filter does anything, this filter A. Oh, it does. So what we need to go do is turn on filter A, take the frequency to 28, turn on follow keyboard, and you guys should have your marching can synth then. And there you guys have it. So right now you can stop the video, but I just want to explain what's going on over the week. It turns out I have more than enough work. I actually have a couple, let's see, 10 to 20 photo projects, and those photo projects include 30 to 40 pieces I have to photograph and edit, but it's well worth it. I'm going to put most of my money into a car and into just beefing up my system. So hopefully towards the end of the year, I'm gonna get a Mac Pro because that's the only thing you actually need. That Mac Pro is probably the fastest thing out there right now. Well, for people who only earn like maybe $1,000 a year like me. Anyways, not even that much. So, oh yeah, and for the past few videos, I want to try out this week if it's going to be. I want to try out next week. So tomorrow you will expect another video. I've been trying for the past 2 days to export my video and transfer it to Adobe After Effects and then do something very special, kind of like what the Propellerheads website used to edit. The problem is that when I go and edit and record, my system is not fast enough to even support any of those programs. So even the stuff I'm just using now is very difficult because my computer is very slow and there's a lot of problems with the core operating system. So other than that, I'll check you guys out tomorrow for another amazing synth tutorial. Thanks for watching. Please tell everyone that you find my videos interesting, or if you don't, you don't. But if you want to share it with everyone, there'll be links in the description below. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on my personal Facebook as well. Or you can go to my channel and just click on the right side of the links. But anyways, I don't use Twitter. I don't know why I'd have it up. I use Facebook more, to be honest. Anyways, I'll check you guys out tomorrow for another amazing synth. I just want to catch you up on what's actually going on. And I actually have a fucked up sleeping schedule. So my sleeping schedule is more like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I sleep for 12 hours. That's the way it's always been. And I usually work. So it's like 12 on, 12 off, basically. So check you guys out tomorrow for another synth.